The sun was low in the sky, giving a warm golden glow over the swimming pool, which sparkled like liquid glass. I was lying on a float, eyes closed, the smooth lapping of the water relaxing while I basked in the sun. The quiet calm was broken by the sound of footsteps approaching. My stepfather greeted us. "Hey, kiddo," with a taunting lilt. I opened my eyes to see him standing at the pool's edge, his toned figure shimmering in the sun, a mischievous grin on his face. I felt a flutter of excitement as he donned snug swim trunks that highlighted his muscles. "Hey, Dad, are you coming in?" I said, tipping my head back, attempting to keep my voice light despite my racing heart. "Maybe I will," he responded, with a malicious twinkle in his eyes, "but you'll have to catch me first." With that, he plunged into the pool, spreading ripples over the surface. I couldn't help but chuckle, my enthusiasm boiling over as I kicked off the float and swam toward him. The chilly water felt refreshing on my skin, the sun warming my back as I chased after him. He was surprisingly fast, gliding through the water effortlessly. "You think you can catch me?" he teased, glancing back with a playful frown. "Just wait," I called out, determination fueling my strokes as I finally closed the gap between us. I lunged forward, grabbing his arm and pulling him closer. "Got you," he laughed, the sound rich and warm as he spun around to face me. "All right, you win this time," he said, his voice softening as our faces hovered inches apart. The tension in the air shifted, electric and undeniable. I could feel his warmth radiating toward me, the intensity of his gaze locking onto mine. "You're getting better," he murmured, a hint of admiration lacing his tone. "Thanks, Dad, I've been practicing," I replied, my heart racing, not just from swimming. He stepped closer. The water lapping around our legs and the intimacy of the moment sent a thrill through me. No, I always wanted to teach you how to swim better," he said, his voice low and smooth. "Maybe we could practice together more often," I suggested, my breath hitching slightly as I felt the chemistry between us intensify. "Yeah, I'd like that," he replied, his eyes flickering down to my lips for just a moment before meeting my gaze again. "You've grown up so much." There was something deeper in his eyes now, a yearning that stirred something inside me. I took a half step closer, my pulse quickening. "I feel like I've been missing out on time with you." His expression softened, and he brushed a damp strand of hair behind my ear, his fingers lingering against my skin. I felt the same way, and before I could overthink it, I leaned in slightly and our lips brushed together softly, an innocent kiss that felt electrifying. It was hesitant at first, but the moment hung thick with tension, and as our mouths met again, the kiss deepened. I felt hello. I nodded, my heart pumping. I felt brave because there was unmistakable electricity bubbling around us. Perhaps we shouldn't resist it. He appeared to be torn for a minute, but then came in closer, his breath warm against my cheek. "You want this more than anything else," I said, feeling the anxiety. "Let us not go overboard with our audacity," he grinned, the warmth in his eyes returning. He then again closed the distance between us, engulfing lips in a passionate kiss that sent a shiver down my spine. His hand slid to my back, bringing me closer, the water whirling about us as we melted into each other. I placed my arms around his neck, intensifying the kiss and losing myself in the moment. Every touch sent sparks flying, and every caress sparked a longing I hadn't realized existed. I felt vital. The thrill of the forbidden coursed through me as our lips became more passionate. Breaking the kiss, I glanced up at him, breathless. "What if someone notices us?" "Let them," he muttered, his lips brushing against mine, eliciting a new surge of need. "I desire you and am weary of concealing it." His words sparked a pleasure in me, and I leaned in, seizing his lips with renewed vigor. The world around us melted away, leaving only the two of us. Tangled in our own needs, his hand explored my body, pushing me further closer as the water wrapped us. The heat of our connection contrasted with the chill of the pool. "Do you truly mean that?" I questioned between kisses, my heart hammering absolutely. He gasped. He gasped, his voice heavy with excitement. This list for an extended period of time. Our kisses became increasingly passionate, and I sensed a growing sense of urgency between us. I could feel the weight of our choices, but in that moment, nothing else mattered. I pulled him closer, my body fitting perfectly against his as we moved in sync. Lost in the whirlwind of emotions as the sun dipped lower, casting a warm glow around us. I mumbled, "Let's not stop." He nodded, a fire burning in his eyes as he moved in for another kiss, and we both gave into the moment, the world outside vanishing. I could feel our connection deepening, the passion igniting something new and exciting that I knew we couldn't ignore. This was just the beginning, and I was ready to explore whatever lay ahead with him by my side. As our lips met again, the world around us blurred into a hazy backdrop consumed by the intensity of our connection. Each kiss was more urgent than the last. As we explored this new territory together, I could feel his heart racing beneath my fingertips as I traced my hands over his strong shoulders and down his arms. The sensation sent a wave of heat coursing through me, igniting a fire that pulsed with every touch. The cool water engulfed us, in sharp contrast to the heat rising between our bodies. "Let us proceed to the shallow end." Breathlessly, I whispered, "I want to feel closer to you." He nodded, his eyes black with need, and we walked to the pool's edge, where the water was warmer and the air was heavy with excitement. I moved up to the pool's edge, feeling the silky tile on my skin, and he followed, his body getting closer to mine. "Is this all right?" he questioned, his voice low as he slipped next to me. Our shoulders touched, and I could see hesitancy in his eyes, yet the need was clear. "It is more than fine," I responded, my heart pounding. "I want it," with a reluctant grin. He reached out and brushed a piece of hair away from my face before leaning in again. This kiss was unique, gentler yet packed with simmering heat. I sank into him, our lips moving in perfect accord, a lovely cadence that mirrored the pulse of our hearts. As the kiss progressed, I could feel his hands on my waist, drawing me closer, his warmth blazing like a blaze. I delighted in the experience, my body reacting immediately to his contact. I felt brave for daring to lean into the moment as I put my arms around his neck, feeling the strength in his arms as he held me tight. He muttered against my lips, "You feel so good." His breath was warm and welcoming, and I could hear a yearning in his words, which mirrored my own aspirations. "You have no idea how long I've wanted this," I confessed, my voice barely above a whisper. The words spilled out before I could stop them, and there was no guilt in this moment, only sheer honesty. "Then let us not hold back," whispered, his lips brushing across mine teasingly before claiming them again. The kiss sparked a fire within me, intense and irresistible. I could feel his hands exploring my back, following the curves of my body, and I pressed into him, my pulse beating frantically. "Dad," I whispered, pulling back for a second to regain my breath. "Is this really okay, given how serious what we were doing was?" he muttered as his fingertips caressed my cheek. "Just let it happen." With a mix of excitement and dread, I succumbed to the moment, trusting my intuition. I leaned in again, and our lips came together with Ned. Every passionate kiss seemed like a vow, a statement of our unsaid sentiments. His hand slid down, firmly grabbing my waist as I tangled my fingers in his hair, lost in the pleasure. The world outside dissolved into obscurity, leaving just us and the yearning that flashed between us like electricity. Christopher mumbled between kes, his voice filled with emotion. "I never expected to feel this way about you." "I hadn't either," I said, my pulse beating as I leaned into him, but it felt so natural. As I crushed my body against his, the air became thick with need, and I felt the heat radiate between us. I could feel the desperation in his motions, which sent chills down my spine. Our kisses grew more heated and desperate, a reflection of the passion building within us, as I pulled back slightly, my lips hovering just above his. I looked into his eyes. "What do we do now?" I whispered, my heart racing. We take this one step at a time, he replied, his voice low. Together we leaned into each other once more, our lips colliding as if the world outside had melted away. I felt as if we were surrounded in our own bubble, a place where nothing else mattered. Every kiss and wave of warmth through me, sparking a need I hadn't thought was possible. Time was unimportant as we lost ourselves in each other. As we surrendered to the moment, I drew him closer, feeling the warmth of his body against mine. The energy between us was evident, and each kiss fed the fire that burned inside us. Let's promise to keep this between us, he muttered to my lips. The weight of his words anchored me. I quietly spoke, my heart pounding with both excitement and a hint of fear. I could feel the seriousness of our actions, but the excitement of being so close to him and of exploring this new link was too alluring to pass up as the sun set lower in the sky, creating a gentle golden glow over the pool. We hugged each other, appreciating the connection we had built. I felt comfortable in his embrace, and a sensation of belonging surrounded me. Whatever happens, I'm here for you, he added quietly, brushing his lips on my forehead, the sensitivity of the gesture instilling a pleasant feeling in me. I know, I answered, my heart flooding with adoration, and I'm also here for you. At that point, I recognized we were going on a journey together, one fraught with uncertainty but also limitless potential. With him by my side, I felt hopeful and excited about what was ahead, a fascinating adventure just below the surface.